Right, now we are going to see the ratio of driving tensions for the flat belt drive. So here's a diagram. So this is driven pulley. Again, our consideration is on driven pulley. T1 is a tension in the belt on the tight side, right? T1, either it is in the bottom side or it is approaching the driver, that is tight side. T2, tension in the belt on the slack side, right? Slack side, either this is at the top or it is approaching the driven. Theta, angle of contact in radians, right? So I told you angle of contact, that is the contact between the pulley and the belt, right? Total angle where the contact is there between pulley and the belt. Angle subtended by the arc AB, right, from here to here. This is the angle of contact, along which the belt touches the pulley at the center, right? Now, consider a small portion of the belt PQ. So this is A to B is the total angle of contact. Now for doing the solution part, we are going to take a small portion of arc PQ, right? Only this portion we are going to take. Subtending an angle delta theta at the center of the pulley. Okay. So this angle from A to B, that is angle of contact, that is theta. All right. Now we are taking a PQ where the angle is delta theta. So delta theta is a small theta, right? So usually we use this denote delta for showing that angle is small, right? Compared to this AB, we need to have that as small. There's a reason. I'll say once it comes, right? So now this PQ portion, POQ portion, this portion is enlarged here, right? Enlarged here. We'll see what are the forces acting over here. This is T, right? Tension T in the belt at P, right? So at P, the tension is T, right? So we know the force act perpendicular to the line joining the O and P, right? This we studied in the static equilibrium forces. This is T2, that is slack side tension. This is T1, that is tight side tension. Okay. And here, tension T in the belt at P is known as T. Okay. So in enlarged diagram, here it is. Tension T plus delta T is the belt at tension in the belt at Q, right? So we know this tension is lower than this tension. In other words, this side tension is higher than this side tension. So if this is T, then this must be something greater than T, right? So we will put T plus delta T. Okay, T plus delta T. Then Rn is the normal reaction, right? So we know the belt is exerting a force on the pulley this way, which means the pulley is exerting a force on the belt this way, that is Rn normal reaction, Rn normal reaction. Okay, that's here. And frictional force F is equal to mu into Rn. So since the pulley is moving this way, right? Since it's making a rotation this way, the frictional force would be on the other side, opposite way, right? Frictional force would be on the opposite way. So on Rn, right, on this point, the frictional force would be on the opposite side of the motion. That is this F, right? So motion is this way, frictional force would be opposite way. That's why this is acting this way, other side, right? So this F is equal to mu into R, that we know, right? Friction is equal to mu into normal reaction, right? Mu coefficient of friction into normal reaction Rn, right? Normal reaction Rn, where mu is the coefficient of friction between the belt and the pulley. So anyhow, they are going to be a friction, right? So here is the enlarged diagram. T is tension P, T plus delta T is tension at Q, F equal frictional force, that is mu into Rn. Rn is the normal reaction, right? And this angle is delta theta, POQ, right? POQ angle is delta theta. Therefore, PORN is delta theta by 2. This is half of that one. And this is half of that one, right? So, O Q. I will put this point. Okay, there's an Rn. So P O Rn is delta theta by 2. Q O Rn is also delta theta by 2. So this delta 2 theta by 2 and this delta theta by 2 will form your delta theta. Right? Now we'll see how to find the ratio of driving tensions. All right. Resolving all the forces horizontally and equating the same. Right. So we are not going to do anything like very large. We are just simply going to resolve the forces horizontal and resolve the forces vertical, and we are going to find the ratio. That's all, right? So now we are going to resolve the forces in horizontal. So horizontal, we know there is an Rn. So this is horizontal, right? There is an Rn. So I'll put Rn. So that is acting that way. And there is no any other forces acting this direction. Will be equal to, now we'll see this direction, what are the forces acting, right? So here there's a t plus delta t, okay? And this angle is delta theta by 2. So this angle is also delta theta by 2. So we are going to resolve it in horizontal. So that is this direction. So this is t plus delta t cos delta theta by 2. Sorry, sine, right? Yes, yes. Here is the angle. Okay, t plus delta t sine delta theta by 2. So this is delta theta. Here's the angle. So t plus delta theta sine delta theta by 2. And there is another force here, T. Okay, this is also acting somewhere here. So that is T sine delta theta by 2, right? T sine delta theta by 2. T plus delta t sine delta theta by 2 this way. T sine delta theta by 2 this way, right? So that are these are the only forces we have, right? Because F is acting vertical, so that component is 0. So there are no any other forces on the horizontal direction. One force here, one component, second component, right? So there are only 3 forces. Rn this way equal to t plus delta t sine theta by 2, t sine theta by 2. So when we solve this, since the angle delta theta is very small, therefore putting sine delta theta by 2 is equal to delta theta by 2 in equation, right? So this we need to know, if the angle delta theta or if the angle theta is very small, right? If the angle theta is very small, which can be considered maybe almost equal to 0, but that is not 0, okay? In that cases, we can put sine theta by 2, right? Sine whatever the angle will be equal to that angle. So here we use sine delta theta by 2. So that is equal, that we can put that as equal to delta theta by 2, right? So if the angle is very small, right, very, very small, then we can call the angle of sine is equal to that particular angle, right? Sine alpha is equal to alpha, we can consider, because you see here, so if we consider a triangle, right, we know the sine is opposite over adjacent, right? So if I consider this as A, this as B, and this as C, and this angle is alpha, okay? So sine is equal to AB upon AC, right? Not adjacent, hypotenuse, right? AB upon AC, okay? So when this angle alpha becomes very small, right? When this angle alpha becomes very small, what will happen? This line, right? This line approach very near to this line, right? That may come something like this. So when this angle become very small, what will happen? This angle may come like this, right? If it is very small. So in that case, if you take sine alpha, that would be this length AB or whatever this length upon this length, okay? But this length is going to be very small when this angle comes closer, right? When this angle is very small, this length is going to be very small, right? So if this length is going to be very small, right, the angle sine, right, sine of this angle can be simply considered as symbol of this angle, right? So this is a reason why the sine of a small angle, right, small angle can be written as that particular angle. So if the angle is very small, then sine of that angle can be written directly as that angle. Okay, so here sine delta theta by 2 can be directly written as delta theta by 2. Okay, the condition is this angle should be very small. Since the angle delta theta is very small, okay, this must be given if you are going to consider like this. So now we will put it in the small this version. So Rn is equal to t plus delta theta into sine delta theta by 2, that we can written as delta theta by 2, plus t into sine delta theta by 2, that can also be written as t into delta theta by 2, right? T into delta theta by 2. When you solve this, we have t into delta theta by 2 plus t into delta theta by 2 plus delta theta into delta t upon 2, right? So t into delta theta by 2, okay, you multiply this with this and you will obtain this. Delta t into delta theta by 2, right, you multiply this with this and you will obtain this, plus t into delta theta by 2, that is here. Okay, t into delta theta by 2. Here there's a t into delta theta by 2 plus t into delta theta by 2. So 2 the t into delta theta by 2, that 2 and this 2 will be cancelled and you will get t into delta theta, right? That is this t into delta theta. And delta t into delta theta by 2. So this delta t is a very small number. Delta theta is also a very small number, right? So when you multiply a very small number with a very small number, you will get very, very small number, right? So if you take an example, say for example, we are multiplying 0.2 with 0.2, okay? So what you will get is, you will get 0.04, right? So if you see, this 0.04 is very, very small compared to this 0.2, right? 20 times small. No, not 20 times, 5 times, right? So this is why when you multiply a smaller number by a smaller number, you will obtain a very small number, and that small number can be neglected, right? That small number can be neglected. So neglecting delta t into delta theta by 2. So now we are removing this from the equation. Okay, so which means we will have Rn is equal to t into delta theta, right? Very small, right? Now we got the horizontal component of forces. Now we got the horizontal component of forces. Similar way, we are going to resolve the forces in the vertical direction as well, right? Vertical direction as well. In vertical direction, if you see, we have an F, okay? We have a T, we have a T plus delta T. So there are three components. This Rn will not come into act. Why? Because this Rn is acting on the horizontal direction. This will not come. So now we will resolve. F is acting upwards, okay? T cos delta theta by 2 is acting upwards. T plus delta T cos delta T is acting downwards, right? So F, we know F is equal to mu into Rn, right? F is equal to mu into Rn. So resolving forces vertically, so I am resolving it upwards, right? Mu into Rn equal to T plus delta T cos delta theta by 2, right? So this is delta theta by 2, which means this is also delta theta by 2. So T plus delta T cos delta theta by 2, okay? That is acting downwards, minus T cos delta theta by 2, right? if this is delta theta by 2, this is also delta theta by 2. So which means t cos delta theta by 2, right? T plus delta t cos delta theta by 2 is acting downwards. T cos delta theta by 2 is acting upwards. Okay. So t plus delta t cos delta theta by 2 is acting downwards, minus t cos delta theta by 2 is acting upwards. Okay. Again, we know this delta theta angle is very small, right? Mu into Rn, that will come as like it is. Okay. Therefore, putting cos delta theta by 2 is equal to 1 in the equation. So why we are doing this is, we know cos 0 is equal to 1, right? Cos 0 equal to 1. That we all know, right? I told you this delta theta is very small, near to 0, but not exactly 0, right? Very, very near to 0, but not exactly 0. So in that case, we will assume this cos of that small angle would be equal to 0. We will assume, okay? So which means cos of 0 is 1. So in small angles, instead of cos delta theta by 2, we can put that 1, right? So now instead of this cos delta theta by 2, we are going to put 1. Instead of this cos delta theta by 2, we are going to put 1. Mu into Rn, that's as it is, t plus delta t into 1. That is t plus delta t into 1 minus t into 1, right? Minus t into 1 is t. So you have mu into Rn is equal to t plus delta t minus t. So this plus t and this minus t would be cancelled out, and you will have only delta t, right? So Rn is equal to, right, mu Rn is equal to delta t. So Rn is equal to delta t upon mu, right? Rn is equal to delta t upon mu, right? This is the next equation. So now we have Rn is equal to delta t upon mu, and here we have Rn is equal to t into delta t. So now we will equalize these two, right? So t into delta t equal to delta t upon mu, right? Now we are going to equalize these two. These two are equal to Rn, right? Rn is equal to t into delta theta, which is equal to delta t upon mu. Okay. So delta t upon t, right? Delta t upon t is equal to mu into delta theta. So we are bringing both the tension into one side, right? So that's what we actually done, right? So here also there's a tension delta t. Here also there's a tension t. We bring those tension into one side. So delta t upon t is equal to mu into delta theta. Okay. Now we will integrate this delta t and t with respect to t, that is tension, right? Integrate in both sides between the limits t1 and t2 and from 0 to theta respectively. So we know integration we have to do for both the sides, right? We usually do it for both the sides. So t1 to t2, right? Integration from t2 to t1 delta t upon t, okay, will be equal to mu into delta theta. That mu is a constant, so we can take it out of the integration. Mu into integration 0 to theta delta theta. Okay. So when we integrate, we know integration of delta t upon t from t2 to t1. This delta t upon t can be written as log e t1 by t2, right? That is ln t1 by t2. The other side equal to mu into delta theta can be integrated from 0 to 90 as theta. Okay. So this t1 by t2 is equal to, when you take antilog e from both sides, okay, you will have t1 by t2 is equal to e to the power mu theta, right? When you take antilog e on both the sides, you will have t1 by t2 into equal to e into mu theta. Okay. So this is based on E. The base is E, that is ln, right? When you convert it to log, right, can be expressed in terms of corresponding log to the base 10, you will have 2.3 log T1 by T2 is equal to mu theta, right? So what will you have? 2.3 log T1 by T2 is equal to mu theta. So log E T1 by T2 and 2.3 log T1 by T2 is equal to their same value. You will have mu theta. So either you can use this one, log E T1 by T2, or you can use this formula, right? So this is a ratio, right? Ratio of the belt tensions, right? T1 by T2 is a ratio, right? T1 is the tight side and T2 is the slack side. So this is the ratio between the belt tensions. 2.3 log T1 by T2 is equal to mu theta. Mu is the coefficient of friction and theta is the contract angle,